Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about American freedom. We're going to talk about America's future, and specifically, we're going to continue to talk about this gift that President Volodymyr Zelensky has given the world, which is the global soldier, right? So, President Volodymyr Zelensky's back is truly to the wall. He's struggling right now. Like, he has a real, like, Vladimir Putin just showed up on February 23rd and was at February 23rd, 22, and was like, ta-da, actual villain. Ta-da, actual evil, right? Like, for 10 years, we've been watching Marvel movies, and we're like, hero, villain, right? And the American public is drawn to it because, like, we know there are heroes. Like, we see them every day, like there's a woman in my church who does evangelism for children, right? She's gone to Africa, and she's very diligent and just leads this incredibly sacrificial life, right? And serves at food banks, and whatever anybody in the church needs, she's there. Like, her name's Sandy. She's front lines of care for this modern world, right? Like, she's a hero, right? And I think a lot of Americans are seeing heroes, right? Where are the heroes in America now? The list is different than it used to be. Right? It's nurses, it's truck drivers. Those are the heroes, right? But there was this question, right? I think one of the reasons why we were so drawn to to the Marvel and DC stories is hero villain. And there were times where we were like, hey, are we in a villain-free world? Right? But now, like, Vladimir Putin shows up to say, I assure you, there are villains for your heroes to fight. I'm the villain. I'm the evil. It's here. It's real, right? It's not a cultural projection. I literally am I am humanity's greatest enemy, right? Like, and he just it's like he's serving his role. It's incredible, right? But President Volodymyr Zelensky, his back's to the wall, right? And he's like, I'm trying to save this nation. I'm fighting for a free Ukraine. I'm a freedom fighter, right? But then he looked to his right and he looked to his left, right? And there was somebody who was right in the morning, but the person to his left is gone, right? Because of Vladimir Putin, literally gone, right? And he's like, oh, I got to fill that freedom fighter slot on the side, right? And every other world leader in the world was like, well, let's get another Ukrainian here. And Zelensky, because he's brilliant and he's a hero, said, no, I don't need to get Ukrainians to fight for Ukrainian freedom. I will invite the world. If you can fight, show up. We'll put an AR in your hand on day one. You'll be on the field on day two, right? All you need is money to travel to Europe, the willingness to walk over the war. All you need is your passport, right, to travel internationally. You need the money to travel to Europe, and then you need the courage to walk over the war zone line. We'll take it from there. Like, you'll be part of the freedom fighter force in Ukraine. This is unprecedented and has massively changed our world, right? And you look at, your eyes are big and you're like, what's happening, right? This world is moving so fast, right? And one of the reasons why I'm doing this commentary is to try to unpack it all. It's happening so fast, right? And one of the reasons why I talk here because I have a free and independent voice, right? I'm not silenced, and I'm not trapped by money, right? Like, so I have, and YouTube allows this free new global platform, and I want to encourage you. I have a warning for you, and I have encouragement for you. Doing YouTube is hard. It is incredibly challenging. It has a cost, right? It has a very minor cost monetarily. It has a huge cost emotionally and intellectually, right? But we are in unprecedented times, right? And my voice is being heard, and I'm saying what I believe about this current situation, and I'm using my intellect to unpack what's happening in the world, because it's happening so fast that I think we really need people to look at it and say, what is occurring, right? And you are part of it, right? And here's the issue. Like, why on earth should you get on YouTube and start talking about what you feel is happening in the world? Well, the reality is the media is failing us, right? They are beholden by specific agendas, right? I'm a huge fan of Breaking Points. I think they're one of the few independent American media sources, right? I will say this. I incredibly, I love the New York Times. I trust what they say. I don't think they get it right all the time. Their coverage is amazing, and I read their material all the time, right? But the reality is we need a lot of voices in the picture to fully understand what's happening, and we need people doing analysis in real time. And that's one of the things I'm trying to do. I'm trying to do an analysis of America's future, right? And give you an on-the-ground, real-time explanation of what an actual on-the-ground American who's raising an American family and doing the best he can to live through this is experiencing, and what he sees coming, and what he has seen happen, and what his analysis of the current situation is. So that's why I'm doing this. I just want to make that clear. So, I really feel I'm doing an IRL real-time analysis of the events that are happening that are impacting America's future. Okay? All right, so let's talk about this President Volodymyr gift to the world, the global soldier. This is unprecedented, and the ramifications of it are massive, right? So one of the things that we're seeing is this incredible emergence, right, of the gig economy, right? But that gig economy is changing so dramatically with what President Volodymyr Zelensky has done, right? So let's talk about the gig economy, right? Uber, right? Transportation as a service, right? Mobility as a service, right? Being able to move, being able to transport as a service, right? Airbnb, hotel as a service, hospitality as a service. You don't need a hotel to rent out a room, right? Like, you can literally rent the couch in your living room out, right? Soldier as a service. Soldier as a service. President Volodymyr Zelensky has massively changed the world, right? And in my opinion, based on history, for the better. Uber rocks. I love Uber, right? Now, the reality is, I don't use Uber. I'm going to be realistic. I've reached a point where I own my own car. We have 2 cars in our family, right? And I just don't need Uber. But I have Ubered, right? And here's the thing. I have carless friends, right? And they can meet me places because of Uber. I also have people whose job does not, American friends, whose jobs do not allow them to, actually, they need extra money, and Uber serves that, right? So my friends who need rides, they get rides. My friends who need jobs, they get jobs, period. Actually, to be clear, second jobs. I don't know anybody who Ubers as their first job. It's all like, hey, I'm running on the weekends. It's their second job, okay? Now, so there we go, right? Uber's been amazing. I cannot speak highly enough about Airbnb. I haven't stayed in a hotel probably in 3 years because of Airbnb. It's amazing. I love it. It's so much better than the hotel industry, and it's transformed how Americans view hospitality, right? And it's the same thing with the soldier as a service, right? All these countries now who are going to need American freedom fighters can get them, right? There are American freedom fighters going right now to Ukraine. This is completely new, right? Our world has fundamentally changed. It's a hinge. February 23rd is a hinge in history, right? So you have this rise of the global soldier, the American freedom fighter, as an accessible source for wherever freedom is threatened in the world, right? And it's incredible because America has low millions of highly trained, highly effective freedom fighters, right? And they cannot fight. They're in the U.S. Navy. They're in the U.S. Army, they're in the U.S. Marines, and they're in the U.S. Air Force, and they cannot help fight for the freedom, for America, for liberty and freedom. They cannot fight, right? They are freedom fighters who are on the bench, right? But what we're finding is, just like the 26-year-old New York carpenter, there are freedom fighters in America. They don't have military training. All they have is a willingness to go, right? And it is happening, not in large numbers, in small numbers. But those small numbers are setting the precedent and saying America is filled with freedom fighters. They have no military training. All they have is courage and a passport. But that's enough. And it fundamentally changes the world, where the American freedom fighter is a service that can be brought wherever freedom is threatened, right? And American heroes are now compartmentalized, serviceable, right? And shockingly, freedom fighters are increasingly not found in our U.S. military. They're found in our American society. That is a fundamental change, right? It was prompted by the villainy that Vladimir Putin put forward, saying there's going to be a need for the American freedom fighter all over the world, wherever, President, it's incredible. So we really have this new thing, this soldier as a service. It's exactly like Airbnb. It's exactly like Uber, and I think it's going to grow incredibly. All that's my opinion. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.